Good morning, friends, and welcome back to the VectoScalar Tech Talk Show. In the previous episode, you must have listened to Suman, where he shared about how to develop enterprise application. And this is Vikas Jain, the curator of VectoScalar Tech Talk and growth head at VectoScalar Technologies. I'm sure you are having a great time. In this episode, our guest speaker Saddam Hussain, senior tech lead at VectoScalar Technologies, is going to cover the key points for the success of large-scale mobile app development for enterprises and startups. So, with that, I would like to welcome Saddam Hussain. Welcome, Saddam, to the show.
Yep. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you for this opportunity. So,
Before
thank
we
you.
further, I would like to give a key introduction about Saddam so that Saddam, then you can take it forward. So
Uh,
Saddam is senior tech lead at VectoScalar Technologies with more than 10 years of corporate experience. He has delivered many large-scale mobile applications and worked on technologies including React.js, native iOS, and many more. And nothing to say, the most important thing, he is among the company's first employee. Over to you, Saddam.
yep. Thank you, Vikas. So, thank you everyone to join in here. In today's session, we will be discussing what all steps need to be followed to turn an idea into a mobile application. If you have some idea and start thinking around a mobile solution for a problem, then there are certain steps to be followed to make it a great success. The first principle is strategy. The first principle is strategy. The first step is deciding on a plan for turning your idea into an effective app. Uh, yeah, the sim- basic. The first step is to decide on a plan for turning your idea into an effective app. There are certain steps that need to follow. The first is identify the target audience for the Android app or iOS app. So you need to identify means what the app on which you are targeting is, what type of audience you will get on that particular app. Identify the competitors and research on them. Select a mobile platform for your app. These are the fundamental requirement that you need to means analyze before starting an mobile application. The second thing is competitive research. So the simplest way to begin identifying the competitors is with the help from the App Radar App Store optimization tool. So there is a tool in the App Store through which you can find your competitors. First, App Radar analyze your app, and AI will recommend suitable competitors to track. Once you have tracked all of your competitors, you can see how you compare in the App Store category rankings. The ranking inform you about the big players who means some of them are newcomers and some of them may be the biggest competitor for you. So there are two straightforward ways to do this. The first thing is to check their app and their screenshot and their description on the Play Store. These usually highlight the main feature of the app, their unique selling points or means USPs that they provide on the App Store and Play Store. The second is to read through the sum of the user review. User will be quick to point out what they love and hate about the app. So these are the main things through which you can research regarding the app that you are going to develop. The third is choosing the platform. So there are two platforms on which you can develop your app. First is iOS, second is Android. So there are many factors based means involved to decide what platform is right for you. The first one is target audience. So one of the first thing to consider when choosing a mobile app development platform is your target audience. Means, are you building the app for iOS users or Android users? You need to means target that. The second thing, you need to think about the functionality and features. The different platform offer different level of capabilities and support for different feature. So it is important to choose a platform that can support the functionality that you need. The third thing is developer experience and resource. There are a wide range of tools and resources available to the help to developers to build high quality app. It is the platform well documented and easy to use. You need to check all these things and then you can decide. The fourth thing is cost. Cost is another important factor to consider when choosing a mobile app development platform. Different platforms have different pricing models, and it is important to choose a platform that fit within your budget. The third thing is maintenance. Last thing is maintenance and support. It is important to consider the maintenance and support available on the platform. Will you have the access to ongoing support and update to help keep your app running smoothly? So all these things you need to means choose. You need to think on while you choose the platform. The next thing is design. Design is the first means heart of your application. You have to look through the audience eyes. Once you have an idea of your app, you need to means design the app in such a way means it is user friendly. So there are few principles that should be followed while using the app. The first is simplicity principle. Your app should be the simple. The visibility principle means design should be in such a way that it should be visible, means every aspect of the app application should be visible to the user. The feedback principle means user means app should receive the feedback from the users, and then user should provide the feedback, and the means app designer should incorporate those feedback from the users. The reuse principle. The design of the app should means able to reuse the component that we are designing there. So these are the things we should. We can take the example of the Gmail. So it does not use any fancy fonts or interaction and content. Is means it is the only emails that you get. How easy it is to use the Gmail? Pretty easy. Even a layman can at least create and send mail and received once. So the topmost priority is understanding the users. Once you know what you are building and for whom, it will be easier to proceed. Typography, content, and interaction surely enhance the experience. But as a designer, you need to figure out the amount of time and energy you focus on these factors. So these are the important principles that need to follow while designing the screens for an applications. Now the next factor is choose the right technology. To choose the right technology, there are many steps involved to choose the technology. One is the requirements. Means what is the requirements? Available resources, considering the target audience. If you have the audience like Android audience or iOS audience, so means while you choose the technology to develop an app, you need to consider those factors. There are many technologies available in the market. Some of them is available to build the app on the iOS platform. Some of them are on the Android platform, and some of them are on the both the platform. So we need to evaluate all these factor, and then we need to check the third party integration, the supports while developing an application from the third party. We need to check that those integration as well. Consider the time and the development cost as well, community support, and scalability and future proofing as well. So these are the most important feature that we means help us to choose the right technology. Next thing is test the application. Means once you develop your application, it is very important to test each and every aspect of your application. Throughout the mobile development process, testing should be at the forefront of your mind. Means there are many ways to test an application. Automation testing and manual testing, unit testing. So you need to test each and every aspect of your application using different type of testing frameworks available. There are many benefits of developing a mobile app. So it provides sufficient value to potential customer. Means if you have your own business, and you want to develop a mobile application, and if you have a mobile applications, and there are certain benefits of that application. So you can manage the strong bond with your customer, fast energy source to connect with the customer, enhance customer loyalty, higher customer engagement, integrate means social media channel. So these are the benefits if you have the mobile application in place. So the conclusion is that having a mobile app has become the essential for all kind of business. The mobile app development process is never ending. So you need to make adjustment and change based on the user feedback. So let's say you have an application, and means you got some feedback from your users. So this is the ongoing process. You need to incorporate those feedback from the user, and then the development process is never completed. You means you'll get the feedback issues from the users. You need to incorporate them. So VectoScalar is one of the best mobile app development companies serving in the industry since 2012. We have provided different types of development services to various sectors such as investment, real estate, education, and all. So yeah, we are serving the industry since 2012, and we are providing services in different domains like mobile app development, in web development, in backend services. Yeah. So yeah, this is all. Over to you, Vikas.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Thanks for sharing all these insights, and I'm sure they were very useful. Now, while you were sharing all the details, I had few observations, and because I know that how things are happening internally, I think for one of the client you played a crucial role. So they were using React Native, and still they were maintaining separate branches for code for Android as well as iOS, which is definitely not the recommendation. That's why people use React Native. So can you just let us know about more about that thing, that even though client was not interested, you, I think, pitched in yourself and still manage the code and converse the code. So what was it all about and how you did that?
Yeah, so when I joined that organization, so what was happened basically, means they were developing the application in React Native. React Native basically is a technology in which you can develop your application. I mean, in single technology, and then you can run on both the platform iOS and Android. So what
Okay.
was happening there? They were managing two different repos, one for Android and one for iOS differently, and they were managing. There were two teams to managing that the different code base, even though they were developing the app in React Native. So
Okay.
ideally, there should be only one team. So I joined that organization. I saw what all happening there, and then I suggested that, means why we have the React Native then if we are having the two different code base, two different teams. So they were saying that we have just upgraded the version of the React Native, and that's why those things were not compatible with iOS. So we are starting two different repos and maintaining two different code base. So I worked with those guys, and what I did is I created a means I fix all the issues related to iOS and Android. I make the repo into a single repo, and then start the development process into a single repo. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was,
And
yeah.
how it benefited the client? Like, can you
Yeah,
just focus on the client?
since they were managing two different code base and two different teams. So yeah, so after that, and even once they released the Android app, the first thing they were releasing the Android app, and they, after 1 month, means after reverse merging all the things into the iOS branch, iOS repo, they were releasing their iOS app. Means first they were releasing Android app. After 1 month, they were releasing Android app. So once we made the input to a single repo, so they started to do the release things means very quickly. They means parallelly, means even the day when they release the Android, after that they release iOS on the same day. So yeah, and they released cut their team as well.
Okay, thanks, Adam, for sharing that insight. And I think that's the DNA of VectoScalar Technologies, that they go beyond what customer asked for. So how they can benefit customer. We have few questions in the pipeline, And it's a question and it's a comment for all others that in case you are having any question, which I'm sure you must have been, because with the simplicity that Saddam explained that how to build a large scale mobile application, it seems like a cakewalk where each step is a critical step and it takes weeks time at least. So in relation to that, Saddam, we have a question from one of our viewers. Siddharth Satija is asking, how much time would one need to build a mobile application for a startup? Very open-ended question, but still, would you
Yeah.
like to attempt it? Yeah.
So thank you, Siddharth, for this question. Basically, the time it depends the requirements. What is the requirements set you have? So you can nowadays you can develop your application in a mobile application in single day. Means so it entirely depend on the requirement set that you have. So means once you have the requirement set defined, then I means we can estimate your app, and then we can give you the timelines to develop that particular application.
Okay. Okay. That's a okay. Thanks, Sam, for us sharing that insight. Now we have another follow-up question, and the question is that from Nikhil, that what are your thoughts on the comparison of iOS Android native application versus React native?
So basically, means if you want to develop a very means any application very quickly, then you should go with React Native. I mean, it means on a single code base you can develop both the apps, iOS and Android, and the development cost will be very low in case of React Native. But if you want to means take the native side of experience like touches and all the quick responses, then you should go for native side like iOS and Android. So means though the development cost will be high since you will be managing two different teams for iOS and Android. But if you want to means feel the experience, native experience, then you should go with iOS, Android. And if you have the budget, low budget and the quick requirement, then you should go for React Native.
Okay, thanks, Saddam, for answering that question. So it entirely depends on the requirement. If there are platform native feature requirements, then one should go for platform native iOS and Android. Otherwise,
Right.
React Native works best. So it
Right.
entirely depends on the requirement. And I think you have captured that well during your presentation as well, where it is more about that first do the analysis that what do we actually want in the application, and where you covered the
Correct.
point like simplicity and visibility. Just a
Correct.
quick thought that based on your like vast experience of building so many mobile application for enterprises, any incident that you can remember probably where the simplicity played the key role, where probably the MVP or the customer requirement were over complicated, something like that, and then you help in minimizing. You can answer that immediately or after few minutes also, because we have couple of question in the pipeline as well.
Yeah. So we can take the question, then we will answer that
Sure.
your question.
Sure. And so we have another question from Ankita Sharma. Ankita is asking, how do we secure our application? And which is very critical because nowadays application security is one of the topmost priority for any company. So what's your take on it?
Yeah. So basically, means every information we should not keep in the local storage of the application. The sensitive information that we have, we should not keep that in our local storage, because someone can fetch that particular information from the local storage. Other thing is we should use proper authentication mechanism that is provided in the market as of today. So yeah, so we should never store the sensitive information in the local storage of the mobile application. This is the key things that we should keep in mind while developing the mobile application.
Yes, thanks for answering that. And I think OWASP, Open Web Application Security Project, time in time also published their guidelines that what are the best practices. So, and we have been following that. And so it's a great question, Ankita. Thanks for asking that. We have a follow-up question coming from Shrey Kalra, who is asking, wanted to ask whether what is the difference between hybrid and native apps?
Yeah, so as I told earlier as well, hybrid. I mean, the React Native is a hybrid platform. I mean, you can create a single code base and you can get two different apps for iOS and Android. And native means code base, the native app you need to maintain two different code base, one for iOS and one for Android. So native is like iOS native or Android native. So yeah, the hybrid is like React native or Ionic. These are the means hybrid platform where you can maintain the single code base and you can create two different apps, one for iOS and other for Android.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. We have another question coming from Siddharth Jain, which is better for mobile application development, Flutter or React Native?
Yeah, both are the front end frameworks to develop the hybrid application. One is Flutter and one is React Native. If you will develop the application in Flutter, then also you can get the iOS and Android application with the single code base, and same for the React Native. But the community support that we have at the moment is higher side on the React Native. Means there are means many freely open sources resources available for React Native, the third party packages that can you can use, but in Flutter it is not that much, though they are growing. Yeah, but as of today the market that React Native is captured is little high than Flutter.
Okay, and we have a very similar question, but still wanted to ask that question in case. So Ayub Khan is asking that what should we learn in 2023, native or Flutter?
Yeah, it is based on the requirement basically. If you are working somewhere where the requirement for Flutter is high, then you should learn Flutter. Or I mean, if you want, if you have in a company where guys are working on the React Native, so React Native is better. So it depends basically. Right now the market is for React Native and not for Flutter that much as I know. So React Native is better than Flutter.
So as per Saddam, React Native is winning the race so far. What will
Yes.
happen in future can change, but so far React Native is the way to
Yes,
go.
yeah. So we cannot compare both since React Native developed by Facebook and Flutter is developed by Google. So they both are competing and trying to do as much as they can. So yeah, they are means around 60% people are using React Native and 40% is using Flutter at the moment. So yeah.
Okay. We have another question. We have lineup of question. I'm sure your session has made people very curious, and they are having so many questions. So the next question is from Akhilesh Anpal. How do we get the target audience? And I think every product management person must be looking for that. That how do we target the audience?
Could you please means elaborate the question a little bit more?
So, as per my understanding, I think you talked about competitive analysis earlier. That's and so when we are developing an application, and Akhilesh, correct me if that's not what you are intended to. You can type in the comment box, and we will take you further. So, as per my understanding, how do we target the audience? So, we have built the application, but now how to market it? How to target the audience, your intended market,
So there are many. This is the basically the business question that you should ask. How do they publish their application? But
right?
means yeah, Vikas can answer that.
So yeah, definitely. So being a growth head, when we are looking for an application, so actually it's a chicken and egg problem. Some people say that you build the application, then you start targeting. But when we understand the design principle, and especially one of the framework design thinking, it really talks about that first you have the consumer, the customer, and then you build the application. So it's actually vice versa, that we don't start targeting the audience after building the application. Instead, we first target the audience, that who is going to be the user for our application, and from there we build the exact competitive analysis and other design features that we need for the application. And in case Akhilesh, you have any follow-up question, you can definitely ask in the comment box below. We have another question coming from Akshika Chaudhary. How do you handle scalability and performance issues for enterprise application that may have a large number of users? And I think it's very relevant because nowadays, with every application targeting millions and billions of users, how we can have that application which can support scalability and performance.
Yeah. So we earlier we discussed about a client where they were managing two different repos for iOS and Android. So the problem, one different problem what they're facing is the app was very slow. Means the performance was very low for that particular app. The basic reason was that they were getting the all the data from the backend via APIs, and then doing some all the calculations on the front end itself in the app side only. So the app was not performing well. So what we did is we took out all the calculation from a different repository. I mean, you means we were making a call to a different repo, and we were getting all the data from there. We divide into three places. One is backend, other one is a middle layer, and one is our app. So what we were doing in that particular application, we were making an API call to that middleware, and in the middleware were talking to the backend services. Backend services were returning the data to middle layer, and all the calculations were happening to there on middle layer, and we were getting the data just to display into the application.
Okay.
So there how we means the app the performance was improved because we just making the API call, and all the calculation were happening on the middle layer itself, because middle layer were calculating all the things via communicating with backend. So yeah, we removed all the calculation from the front end itself, and we were just displaying the data on the application side. So this is how we means improved the scalability and performance on that particular client's applications.
Okay, thanks Akshika for asking that question. I'm sure your question is answered, and based on your feedback, you can always type your feedback also in the comment box below, and we will be glad to take that up. We have another question coming from Sanket. How do we debug our mobile applications?
Yeah. So there are many debugger tools available in the market. Let's say you are developing a React Native application, then we have the Chrome debugger, or we have the React Native debugger. There are many debugger available in the app, so you can use those and you can debug your mobile application. Like you have the inspect in your Chrome, using inspect means browser. Same type of debugger available to debug the mobile applications.
Wow. So we are approaching the closure of the session, but I think there are many questions in the lineup. We'll try to take them up as much as possible. So we have another question coming from Abhiraj Vashne. What approaches should be taken to support ongoing maintenance and updates for enterprise applications?
Uh, we are following the agile process here. Means, let's say we have developed an application, and
Okay.
means, we got the further requirement from the clients. So we follow the agile process. We'll get the requirement from the client. We'll develop the feature. We'll deliver the feature. Bug will come. We'll fix the bug. So this is the agile process to develop the mobile application and maintenance in enterprise.
Okay, I'm sure Abhiraj, your question must have been answered. Now, this is a very quality related question, very critical, open ended, but definitely very critical. How do you ensure the mobile meets quality standards before deployment?
Okay, so means we generally in VectoScalar, what we'll do is means as a team, we maintain a process to review our code. I mean, the very on the very first stage, the developer will review the code means in pair. Let's say there are four members in a team, so and there is one PR, so everyone will review that PR. That PR will go to the team lead, and then technical lead, then the manager. So all these things happening in Vector to review the code base and to ensure the quality and standard regarding the code. So the code wise, yeah, we are doing a great job.
Yeah, definitely quality is one of the most important thing, and that has to be taken very critically, especially for the enterprise level development. Because for a startup, app is everything, right? So the follow-up question comes from Harshit Goyal is asking, can you share your insights on calculating a large scale application's cost? Again, it's a business related question, not the exactly technical, but still, do you want to take it up? What are the best practices that you follow?
Vikas, you can answer this. This is not related to the technical.
Yeah, so basically, the answer lies, Harshit, in both the technical side as well as the business side of the discussion. So first, from the technical team, we get the actual feature wise understanding that how much work is required in that, how many features are there, what are the complexities of those features, and based on that we provide that estimation. We do, there are certain tools we follow, VectoScalar Technologies, we follow certain tools where we find out that okay, this is going to be the estimated time and effort which is required to build that application, and based on that and based on the client requirement we finalize the project cost. So basically for a large scale application, it's not just that we are just driving out the cost directly. We need to define that what do we mean a large scale application and how many features are there, and what is the estimate effort estimate that is required to be there. So that broadly the beginning line of thought when we are estimating the cost of an application. But thanks Harshit for asking that question. We have another question coming from Rashi Jain. What would be impact on performance related to screen resolution, CPU, memory, OS optimization, and hardware when app is developed in React Native instead of iOS Android?
Okay. So when we develop an application in React Native, so means, React Native is basically JavaScript, and the iOS platform cannot understand the JavaScript. So basically, there is a bridge in between, which is act as a communicator between JavaScript and the native side. So the performance is means if you will talk about the performance. In terms of native and React Native. So yeah, the performance is little low because there is a middle layer in between that is responsible to manage the communication between the JavaScript and your iOS platform or Android platform side. So yeah, definitely the impact, but the framework like Flutter and React Native is improved a lot nowadays, and they releasing the new versions to incorporate all the changes that it needed to improve the performance. So yeah, impact is there. Means the native side is still higher side, but yeah, these platform like React and Flutter are trying to achieve the performance of the native side as well.
Okay, thanks. Thanks Rashi for asking this question. And before moving on to the next question, I have a commendation for you. So Akhilesh is talking about that the answer that he's received, it was well received. Thanks Akhilesh for the commendation. Next question comes from Lakshya Munjal. Hi, what constraints to consider while finalizing the framework for mobile application like Flutter or Reactive? I think that this question is coming again and again. I think it's many people are curious about this question.
Yeah, when means, there is no constraint. Means you can develop your hybrid application in Flutter or React Native. There is no constraint to choose one of them. But if I would suggest, since Flutter is providing the great UI experience, so if the application is UI rich, then we should choose the Flutter framework. And if we means the UI is not that much rich and we are focusing more on the functionality and all, then we should choose React Native, I guess. But yeah, it vary means person to person. Some people likes Flutter, some people likes React Native. Yeah. So since they are open hybrid framework in the market, yeah, so we can develop our application in both. Means there is no constraint like some features are available in Flutter and some feature are in React Native. No, they both basically provided all the possible functionalities to build a mobile application.
Okay, thanks. I think I was about to close it and then I saw another question coming up. So, what's your opinion about Python? So, is
Python
Python
is
also playing some role in mobile app development so far?
that means if we want to develop the means APIs, then we will use the Python, but Python will not play any role in mobile application front end development.
Short, short. Thanks, Ayub, for asking your follow-up question. And I'm sure there will be many questions which our audience must be having towards VectoScalar Tech Talk Show and how we can improve it further. So, whatever your comments, whatever you want to be the next topic, do type in the chat box. And Saddam, before just closing, I just wanted to know your last thought on the nowadays many startups, many big enterprises are focusing on building mobile applications, and you talked about various things. that okay, how we can improve the mobile application. What do you think that what could be the just one, if somebody will ask you that okay Saddam, you have to bet on just one thing, what is the most important thing one should keep in mind while developing an enterprise application, what should be that?
The app should be user friendly, means the UI should be simpler, so that the app means can explain its feature without much hurdle to the users.
Okay, okay. Saddam, do you want me to take a few? There are three more questions. I think you have created curiosity, a lot of curiosity in mind of people. Do you want me to take up three, four questions as well?
Yes,
They're in
sure.
that. Okay. So next question is coming from Divyanshu. How to handle multiple user application in FE in an optimized way?
Um,
I think question
yeah.
is more toward in generating web application that for a multiple user application, how to do that in an optimized way. Is there any specific answer? Maybe the question is incomplete. Probably we can move to the next question. How do you want it?
Yeah, we can move to next session.
Okay, Divyanshu, in case you want to clarify, you can type in and type the chat box again. This question is coming from Saurabh Rana. Should we go for cross-platform app or web apps for using app on iOS or Android both? Apps for web apps for using. I think again the question seems to be similar. That should we use the native apps or the hybrid
Yeah,
apps, right?
yeah,
Saurabh, so we have already answered that question. I hope you will just listen to the this tech talk from the beginning, and you will find your answer here. I think this is going to be definitely going to be the last question from Harsh. As mobile devices and operating system continue to evolve, how do you enterprise future-proof their large-scale mobile apps to adapt to these changes? Definitely, things are evolving. Is there any specific thing that we keep in mind while building enterprise-level application?
yeah. Basically, right now the framework also evolving day by day. Since let's say some feature coming in the OS, so the framework itself is adopting those OS features and evolving themselves, and then we need to enhance those features in our app as well. So this is the continuous process.
Okay. So thanks, Adam. Thanks for coming to the VectoScalar Tech Talk show. I'm sure the audience must have gained a lot of insight from your Tech Talk. Thank you. Thanks again for being
Yeah.
on the
Thank
show.
you, everyone. Thank you, Vikas.
Hello, friends. So I'm sure you must have enjoyed the VectoScalar Tech Talk show. So a quick glimpse about VectoScalar. VectoScalar is a technology pioneer serving large enterprises to startups and helping them achieve business growth by enabling digital transformation through software development, app development, cloud native application development, and many more. Established in 2012, the company has more than 100 plus enterprise grade engineers, and they are serving top global brands like Google, SimSim, Kick Drums, Pokerbazi, CoinSwitch, Daily Hunt, Ford, just to name the few. I'm sure you must be liking the VectoScalar Tech Talk show, and you must be having more curiosity. In case you have any other further query that what who you want to be covered in the next events, what topic do you want to take up, you can type in the comment box below, and also mail us and visit VectoScalar.com for more such queries. Thanks for being such a nice audience, and bye bye. Take care. Have a nice day.